Wow. What did we just see tonight? I mean, what a match. What a main event. Darby Allin's first title defense, first world title defense. This coming up against Tommaso Ciampa was insane. I mean, what a match. It really, in my mind, it exceeded all expectations. I mean, I expected it to be great. I expected it to be really good, but this like took it to a whole other level. It was everything you want professional wrestling to be, right? Everything you want a world title fight to be. It was because that's what it was. It was two people fighting their heart out for the ultimate prize, for the World Wrestling Championship, the AEW World Wrestling Championship. I mean, my my goodness, my goodness. So normally I start with a rundown of the show from top to bottom, but we're just gonna head off with the main event because I mean it was that great. Definitely match of the night for sure. For me, y'all let me know if you see things differently, but I mean when you talk about AEW Dynamite on April 22nd, what sticks out? It's going to be that world title match, Darby Allin versus Ciampa. And from get go, it was a quick start. Darby Allin goes for a quick coffin drop. Tommaso Ciampa, veteran wrestler, king of the counters, gets rolls out of the ring, gets out of the way. And from there, he really kind of takes over on the floor, dominating, really putting in some good work, hitting Darby Allin with a slingshot into the bottom of the ring apron. So all that iron work under there. And it was a very good, unique attack to see on the outside of the ring. Now, as that beating went on out there, Darby Allin was able to avoid an attack, and that got Tommaso Ciampa caught up on the barricade next to the announce table, right? The barricade right in front of the timekeeper's table. Darby Allin, being Darby Allin, quickly climbs to the top, but not to the top rope, but to the top of the ring post. And from there, he proceeds to fly and do like a crossbody splash right onto Ciampa, sends him through the timekeeper's table. Amazing spot, amazing, super high risk. Seeing the replay of it was insane. Just a lot of distance to travel, hit it perfectly, precision strike, and Tommaso Ciampa is left a bloody mess as he picks his way out of the timekeeper's table and would eventually be wearing a crimson mask. I mean, he was bleeding everywhere, all over himself, front to back, all over Darby, the mat, of course. Even the ringside camera got a few drops. So it was insane. And again, just a great match. So Darby Allin goes for a scorpion death drop attempt, but Ciampa's in the corner, so he's holding on to the turnbuckle, holding on, fighting it off, eventually loses the battle, gets hit with the death drop, but yeah, he tears the turnbuckle off, the covering in the process. So now that turnbuckle is exposed and it will come back into play. So after that Scorpion Death Drop, Ciampa is able to counter again another attempt of Darby Allin's coffin drop, hitting the rope and causing him to fall on the turnbuckle, not the exposed one, the one across from it. And it eventually leads up into a psycho driller, but not any regular psycho driller, not even an avalanche psycho driller, but a psycho driller from the second rope all the way to the floor. And it looked brutal, more brutal than it would sound. And geez, it was rough. It was a rough landing for Ciampa too. Can't imagine that felt good on the old tailbone. But I mean, Darby really ate it. That was some serious punishment. Total car crash bump. And from there, Darby is able to make it back into the ring. But what does he get for his trouble? He gets a running knee. But he pops right back up, almost Sting-like, Didn't beat the chest like Sting does, but he popped up. And Ciampa, he gets Darby, puts him up for a powerbomb, probably to hit the Project Ciampa powerbomb onto his knees. But instead, it is countered by Darby Allin, and Ciampa ends up getting hit with the code red, close 2 count. Darby again goes for the coffin drop, but it's countered into a body scissor sleeper hold combo, which Darby is eventually able to flip over and turn into a pin. So he gets out of that predicament. And what happened? Darby charges Ciampa in the corner, but it's the exposed turnbuckle corner. Ciampa is able to counter, spin him around. Darby hits back of the head first into that exposed turnbuckle and feeds right into that exposed running knee. Oh my gosh, is it over? It's a title reign over a week later. No, kick out at 2. Ciampa is not losing focus yet. So what he does, he gets him up, hits him with the Project Ciampa, that powerbomb onto the knees, and follows that up with a second exposed running knee. This is it. The fans are watching. The fans are all in shock. This is actually going to happen. 1, 2, nope, not happening. Another kick out, a very late kick out, but a kick out nonetheless. Darby is still alive. Ciampa is in shock, but he has an idea. He's going to beat him with the Scorpion Deathlock. Big mistake. Darby Allin's not going to allow that to happen. He counters and smoothly puts Ciampa into the Deathlock himself. Ciampa fights to the ropes, but doesn't quite make it. He's dragged back into the middle of the ring. This happens again. And I mean, Darby at this point is just struggling to hold it and keep the hold going. And he is able to sink it in really tight, apply it. Tommaso finally taps out. And it was, I mean, the crowd erupted. It was just a moment. They really told a good story, the classic story for Ciampa, which is that he has a counter for everything. He is a true veteran in the ring, a ring general. He knows what he's doing in there, and he is always able to regain control in all of his matches. It kind of tells the same story. He knows what you're about to do, and he has been there. He's done that, and he's going to find a way to neutralize what you do best. And that is exactly what he was doing throughout the match. But Darby Allin was doing what Darby Allin does, and he was being resilient and almost inhuman what the punishment he can take, but also what he can dish out. And not only is he's not like just some hardcore wrestler, he's also a great technician in the ring. So hats off to the both of them. That was an excellent match. If you somehow missed it, do yourself a favor and watch it. I'm going to have to watch it again because it was really good. It was really good. And I'd just like to actually sit there and study it next time around. But excellent match. You know, they laid there for a bit. They were both spent. Their legs were still tied up together for a while. Eventually, you know, they got to their knees. Ciampa shakes his hand, shake Darby's hand, and hands him the title. They embrace, and then he, you know, goes out to the apron, applauds. Just excellent, because Ciampa, you know, he's been this heel for the majority of his return. So it was just good to see him show that respect. It just made the match even a little more special. And Darby, unfortunately, didn't get much time to celebrate because out comes Brody King, and he spoke to TK. And next week, it's going to be Darby Allin versus Brody King for the world title. Man, I mean, right after a brutal match, no mercy, no mercy. I don't know. I mean, I would like to think Darby Allin can survive, but so we'll go kind of backwards here. Right before the main event, Darby Allin came out for a quick in-ring promo, came out to the "You Deserve It" chants, just to let the people know that this here in Portland, where they were for Dynamite, is where he had his first match. And, He sees what the world title can do to people. It can inflate their egos, totally change them. But how he sees it as this is just another 15 minutes, like 15 minutes of fame, I guess, is what he's referring to there. And that the title isn't for him, it's for his parents, it's for his fiance, it's for the Sherpas who helped him on his journey up Everest, and it's for all the people, right? And I know that can sound kind of cliche, but he delivered it well. It's a great message, and it was very Darby Allin, very much his character. And of course, MJF has to show up and interrupt, right? He's saying, "You don't deserve it. Give me my belt right now." Darby says, "No." MJF isn't going to quit. He says, "Give me my rematch right now." Darby says, "No, you have to give something up because there's plenty of people in the back that wants and deserves a shot." And Darby Allin is saying he's going to defend it every week until his body gives out. So right there, Darby Allin's kind of saying he's not expecting some lengthy, epically long reign trying to break records. Nah, he's here to defend that title and put on a show, put on a wrestling clinic like he did tonight, and just really highlight what AEW is all about and highlight what that title means to him and to the company and to all the other wrestlers that are also back there looking for an opportunity that they might not get otherwise when like an MJF is champion and he's not going to be defending but on like pay-per-views at best. So very good message. Right there, again, you're not thinking it's going to be a lengthy reign. I want him to have a long reign as possible because I really feel like not just that he deserves it, but that he earned it. And, if this is how he wants to have his title run be, then more power to him. I hope he's able to last a little bit before that body gives out, kind of like Orange Cassidy's international title run was. He was wrestling every week, defending, and yeah, it caught up to him, but he still had a lengthy reign. Maybe Darby Allin can replicate that on a larger scale, but having to go up against Brody King right after a huge battle against Ciampa, that's a tall order. So we'll see how it works out. What did make me laugh was after that MJF interaction there, Ciampa came out. MJF got on his face and Ciampa just gave him a kiss on the cheek and walked on by him and into the ring to focus on his match. It was excellent. I loved it. So the show actually started with a recap of the Darby's win from last week. It was excellent to relive the moment. From there, we had an in-ring promo with MJF. He came out. He was heated, like raced out to the ring, cut the music. He's calling what happened last week the Seattle screw job. He's complaining about the low blow. He's saying his shoulders weren't even down, which they clearly were. And, he's bad-mouthing Aubrey, but whatever. MJF saying that everybody knows Darby Allin can't beat him at 100%, which Darby Allin also fought. He fought Andrade at Dynasty, so he had a tough match as well. But anyway, MJF being MJF saying MJF things. So he's demanding a rematch right now, but it's Kevin Knight who answers that call. His music plays. He comes out. Kevin Knight saying that MJF is the last one to say that he's been cheated of anything because it wasn't that long ago where Kevin Knight fought for that world title against MJF, and it was MJF cheating him out of a win because he was laying flat beat for multiple seconds and was able to eke out a cheat win, of course. But, he goes through his whole thing about how he's great, he's the future, he's the present, he should be Jet 2 belts. But, MJF is like, wow, he totally called him out on his promo style, which is true. Kevin Knight isn't the greatest promo at the moment, but I'm sure in time he will grow. MJF does not let him off the hook, and he's telling him, you know what, that TNT title fits you. You're a real workhorse. You come out every week and fight, but, you also have a ceiling. he'll never be world champion and not to talk about his world title because basically Kevin Knight is just average. Kevin Knight responds, he says MJF would never have the TNT title because he's not that caliber of wrestler. He's not a workhorse or anything like that. Basically turning MJF's own words against him. MJF says, you know what? That title, I think, looks good to him now, and he wants a challenge, but not just at any time. He wants it right now. He's calling out a ref to the ring. Ginsburg comes out, and we're about to have a TNT title match, MJF against Kevin Knight to start off Dynamite. But nope, it's MJF we're talking about. So he exits the ring and says, nope, you'll be facing him next week at Dynamite. So we do have the match, and it is official for next week's Dynamite. MJF versus Kevin Knight for the TNT title. Is MJF going to become the TNT champion? And is he going to be trying to have two titles? Because as we saw at the end of the night, he came out before Darby Allin's title defense, and he was still demanding a rematch the same night. So obviously he's still focused on the world title, but I think, he was a little ticked off. He was obviously ticked off at what Kevin Knight had to say, at being interrupted by Kevin Knight, and he's going to go ahead and grab a title for himself as well. We'll see if he takes the win. I am actually, as of this moment, predicting that Kevin Knight is going to successfully defend his title. I know that seems kind of crazy that he's going to beat MJF, but is it really? We saw them go at it already, and Kevin Knight could have won. And he has shown that he is well equipped as a singles competitor. He is the TNT champion after all. And I kind of just don't see MJF getting that title, even though he's never held it. And it would be a good opportunity for him to attain it for the first time ever. But Kevin Knight did just get it. And it would be nice to see him actually have a run. And if he can get a win over someone the level of MJF, well, whew, then he's arrived, hasn't he? So we'll see where that goes. From there, we had a quick promo backstage with Jericho and The Demand. They're basically just setting up a match for this collision, which is going to end up being a trios match. So Jericho needs two partners. Later in the night, we see him backstage looking for those two partners, and they come out the locker room, and it's the Hurt Business. So it will be Jericho, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin going up against The Demand on Collision. From there, we had our opening match. It was Brody King going up against Blackheart, Lio Rush. And the match started off with a handshake, which was good to see. And from there, Brody King took over as you would expect, but surprisingly, Lio Rush actually had a lot of offense, and not just here or there either. He actually had sustained offense. I mean, he was targeting Brody King's left shoulder, and he was able to do that galloping crossbody out of the ring suicide dive that he does. He was doing really well and a lot better. Held up a lot better. Not that I don't think Lio Rush is capable. He is more than capable. I think he's a great wrestler. But going against Brody King, I did not expect it to be that competitive of a match. Like, it went through a commercial break and it was like a 2-segment match. So it was really good. But in the end, that sustained offense by Lio Rush was cut short by a Black Hole Slam or a Boss Man Slam, however you want to call it. Followed up by a cannonball and a Gonzo bomb, and that was the end of the story. And we had a quick in-ring promo from Brody King just saying that he'll be keeping an eye on the main event. He's proud of Darby Allin, but he wants a shot. And as we saw at the end of the night, like I mentioned, he did go out there after Darby Allin successfully defended against Ciampa, and he staked his claim, and he will get that title shot at next week's Dynamite. Oh my. From there, we had a backstage promo, just Renee going up to Ciampa, asking him if he was ready. Ciampa saying that, he's been told a lot through his career that he's not what everybody looks for in a world champion. He's not 6'4", he's not 240 pounds. He's not the Randy Orton prototype, right? he's not charismatic enough. I think he's charismatic enough plenty, and that he's not main event material. On and on, all these things he's been told, but he's focused on breaking that glass ceiling that's been placed over him, and he's more than ready. And that tonight we'd see if Darby Allin wants it more than he needs it. And like I already went over, Tommaso Ciampa fought his butt off, and it was a great match. They both did great, and it was excellent to see Ciampa even in that position, right? Because for years in the Fed, he was like just lost and underutilized and not seen. That's exactly what he was saying, which is a ridiculous crying shame. But he definitely put it all out there, and it was a great reminder of who he is. And he's been that guy for quite some time in AEW, and this just even raised that level even higher. We had another backstage promo. We had Cope saying that he thinks he deserves another tag title shot, him and Christian Cage. And at Double or Nothing, he challenges FTR to a New York street fight. And to make FTR actually think about it and accept, he's saying that if Christian and Cope lose, that they will retire as a tag team. So he put that out there as an offer for FTR to take. We'll see if they accept. I'm sure they will. From there, we had a singles match, Hikaru Shida with Statlander in her corner against Mina Shirakawa. Of course, this match came into play because Mina is suspicious that Shida is involved in Toni Storm's attack, because she did find a kendo stick back there. Now, Excalibur did mention that there were a lot of items back there, so she's not the only suspect, but we'll see where this all goes eventually. This match was okay. It wasn't my favorite from the start. It just seemed a little too choreographed, and it was even sloppy despite that. But as the match progressed, things got a little tighter, and came down basically to Hikaru Shida was reaching for the kendo stick behind the ref's back. Mina spotted that and snatched the kendo stick up, was acting like she was going to use it. So Statlander hops up on the apron and grabs the kendo stick from her. This caused enough of a distraction for Mina, and that was a perfect opening for Hikaru Shida to hit that jumping knee. Then follows up with that Falcon Arrow, and 1, 2, 3 match is over. Shida and Stat embrace, and off they go. So we'll see if Mina Shirakawa is still going to be getting involved with Shida or Statlander. Collision is promoting that Statlander will be in action, so we'll see if Mina has a bone to pick with Stat due to that interference there. From there, we had a quick video package of Okada and Takeshita, just showing their rivalry leading up to their match at Double or Nothing, where Okada will be defending his international title. Then we got a video package for a match for this coming Collision. We're going to have a team up. So they recapped last Collision where the Bucks defeated the Rascals, but then the Dogs came out and attacked them both. So at Collision, it will be the Bucks teaming up with all three of the Rascals, and they'll be going against Death Rider members Claudio, Yuta, and Daniel Garcia, and they'll be teaming up with the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay, and that'll be on Collision. The only other backstage promo that we had was Alex Windsor, where we found out that Jamie Hayter is not clear to wrestle, but Alex Windsor isn't done with the Triangle of Madness. She just needs to find a partner. In comes Persephone, champion over at CMLL, the Women's World Champion, and she is offering her help, so Windsor gladly accepts. It will be Alex Windsor and Persephone going up against Tekla and Sky Blue at this coming Collision. We also had a singles match. We had Samoa Joe returning to action, going against Cody Chun. And not much to talk about here other than quick muscle buster and a win. Not much else to say there. We will see what happens because Samoa Joe is the leader of the ops, but Hook has been the leader in his absence. So we'll see what the dynamic will be there. Hook hasn't really done anything. We're supposed to be finding out, I believe, on Collision if Bowens is going to be accepted into the ops. We'll see if Samoa Joe has anything to say. We'll see if there's any friction. But other than that, straightforward match. Joe is back. Cody-chan defeated. And that takes us to the last match we have to cover here, the match that I originally had as match of the night because it was excellent as well. And that was Will Ospreay going up against Mark Davis with Don Callis on commentary. And this match between former friends here was, it's great from start to finish. I'm a huge fan of Mark Davis. Obviously, a huge fan of Ospreay as well, but Mark Davis is so good in the ring. Well, Ospreay is obviously a special talent, but Mark Davis, in my book, is one of a kind as well. And this match just went ahead to further cement that because it started off fast. Davis, of course, starting with power, but Will Ospreay is able to cut off using his speed, trademark moves. I found that in this match, as opposed to previous matches, Will Ospreay wasn't really having to sell the neck too much. Every now and then he'd wince and flex the left arm a bit, but for the most part, he was wrestling healthier, let's say, and a little more resilient. So that was good to see and made for a better match. Really good back and forth. They were fighting on the outside as well, even up the ramp as well. And Will Ospreay was getting the better of it, actually, a fight on the outside, up until, of course, he wasn't. And Davis was able to throw him up in the air, almost flapjack-like, and onto the apron, and was able to take control there, but not even for long. It wasn't even sustained because more back and forth. Will is able to do his usual speed trademark moves, his spinning heel kicks, shots out of nowhere, just really, really in good shape, looking really good and crisp with his moves. Those crescent kicks of his were on target. So Will went for a hidden blade towards the middle of the match. It was countered by Mark Davis. He's not going for that, right? He knows Will Ospreay well. So he counters it and actually is able to hit Will Ospreay with 3 high-angle back suplexes, and this is where the neck starts to come into play, right? He's focusing on it. He goes for his rebound lariat, but that's countered out of nowhere with a hidden blade, and you think, wow, it's over. Surprise, hidden blade out of nowhere, but it only gets a 2 count. Mark Davis kicks out again, cementing that he's not just another guy. He's a top performer, a top wrestler in the company. So Will Ospreay, still focused, is getting ready to go for a second hidden blade, but instead it gets countered with a lariat, and then the Dunkzilla pile driver. Oh, is it over? It must certainly be, but no, it's not. Will Ospreay too close to the ropes, lays a leg on it, and rope break. So this is where it gets even more intense because Mark Davis gets Ospreay on the apron, has him up for that Dunkzilla pile driver on the apron. Will Ospreay doesn't counter it, and he gets that pile driver on the apron. Wicked move for somebody coming off of neck surgery. I don't know that I'm signing up for that, and God bless him. I hope he has a long, healthy career, but that was vicious. So the ref's telling Davis to get in the ring. Doc Sampson comes out to check, and guess what? Normally you think Will Ospreay again is going to fight it off. He's going to continue. He's going to win the match, but not this time. The ref calls the match. Doc Sampson says no more. He has to call it. Match over. Big win for Mark Davis. A legit win. No cheating. Just beat him. And Will Ospreay could not continue. So huge win for Mark Davis. I am not upset about that. I'm happy to see Davis get some recognition and some shine. But that wasn't it, because Davis just has to go too far, because he's with Don Callis, that rotten guy, and he's like, yeah, get him in there, destroy him. And he has him up in the middle of the ring for another pile driver, right? Another Dunkzilla pile driver. But who comes out but Marina Shafir? She's standing on the apron. So that causes Mark Davis to hesitate. And then who comes into the ring on the other side of the ring? It's Jon Moxley. So now Mark Davis is in a tough spot. And then comes the rest of the Death Riders, and they're surrounding him in the ring. So Mark Davis wisely lets Will Ospreay go and backs out of the ring, backs his way up the ramp. And from there, the Death Riders help Will Ospreay out the ring and carry him. Claudio puts him up, fireman carry, and they all carry him through the crowd. What's going on, right? We saw last week that Marina Shafir was watching his match, reported back to Mox. They seemed a little concerned, and now here they are saving him and then taking him backstage. Is he going to be inducted into the Death Riders? Is he a new Death Rider member? Or are they just looking to help him out? This is an interesting turn of events, and I am very curious to see where this actually goes for this whole relationship, particularly between Mox and Ospreay, as Mox is the one storyline wise who put Will Ospreay on the shelf and caused him to take that neck surgery. Okay, so we'll see how all that works out, but I like that interesting twist to the story, and I am curious to see how it goes. And that's what wrestling's about, right? Makes you want to watch the next week. So that was my de facto match of the night until it got blown out of the water by Darby Ciampa. So let me know if you all agree. Was the main event the match of the night? What did you think of it? How do you feel about Darby Allin's view of the world title and his championship reign in particular? He's looks like he's going to be burning the candle at both ends, so to speak, and he's just going to go out in a blaze of glory at some point. How long do we expect this reign to last? Are you wanting it to last? I want it to last for as long as it possibly can, because I think Darby Allin has more than earned this. So I'm hoping he can carry it for quite some time. Let me know what you all think in the comments. Are you all thinking Brody King is going to be the new world champion here in a week's time? I think Brody King has earned it, and I've been wanting him to get an opportunity as well, aside from the one he had with MJF. But, I mean, would it be the most surprising thing if he were to win? Brody King and Darby have had their battles in the past, so I'm sure this one's going to be a big one as well. Now, Leo Rush was targeting Brody's left shoulder. Commentary made sure to highlight that as well, so we'll see. That I feel like they're letting a little chink in the armor there, so we'll see how it goes. I'll be pulling for Darby, of course, and hoping that he can string this along further and have a nice, healthy run. So let me know what you all think. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all who have subscribed already. If you haven't, please do subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, whenever it is that you're watching this. And until I speak to you again, take care.